Hi, welcome to the Beneva podcast, Ask the Experts. I'm your host, Catherine Duranceau. Today, we're diving into an important yet sensitive topic, returning to work after a cancer diagnosis. Too often, both employers and employees are unaware of the resources available for a smooth transition back to work. So together, we'll look at how workplaces can make this transition easier and really make a difference along the way.
Hi, I'm Alvina Nadeem. I am a mechanical engineer, a mom of 2 young boys, and I'm very passionate about human-centered design in healthcare.
Hi, my name is Sarah Beaudry. I'm a workplace health advisor at Beneva, and my main goal at work is to build organizations that are caring, human, and inclusive.
Alvina, so glad to have you with us. You've overcome ovarian cancer with such courage. Can you share with us your story and how you went through such a difficult time?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, first of all. I think it's just the act of having this conversation it speaks a lot to me. So in terms of my story, I was 36 years old. I, at the time, had 2 little boys who had turned 3 and 5, I think, if I remember correctly. And it was a complete shock because I have no family history. I have no genetic predispositions or anything. So I was not expecting to be someone who would be calling themselves a cancer survivor at 36. So yeah, it was a shock.
How did you go through the treatments once you got that horrible news? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I love talking about my story because I've come to realize that it is one of the good stories. And so why I share it is not to be like, oh, look, I was so lucky. No, it's to say, here's a blueprint. Can we recreate it? Can we do it again for others? So in my case, I had a very proactive doctor who immediately took action. I was sent for ultrasounds. I was sent for imagery, and things went really fast. I also landed on a great oncologist who was just so good at partnering with me as a patient to develop a plan for me and make decisions and make me feel that I can participate in this health experience.
Which is more human as an approach.
Yes, absolutely.
How did you feel those symptoms? Because I think that was hard for you to know is it cancer? Do I have symptoms? How did that go through?
So this is where it's really important to talk about ovarian cancer. So ovarian cancer is really hard to diagnose. It's often called a silent killer. So, you don't want to Google ovarian cancer if you think you have it because it's scary. For me, I knew that something felt off. I would say early February is when I started to feel like there's something I need to go get checked because things were just piling up. So for example, I felt myself feeling really tired all the time. But again, I had 2 little kids. So I was like, mom.
You're just always tired.
Working mom, 2 boys. Keeping me busy. So I was like, it's just...
Your mom, just take some naps. No.
Yeah. And
it's not just the nap.
Exactly. But then it started to kind of add up where I started to feel that I was getting headaches more often, like migraines, things like that. I then started to notice that I was getting cramps before my period would start. And that was not normal for me. I was not someone who had cramps. Well, not at least
your whole life.
I was like a teenager, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the last time I had cramps, I was like 16 or something. So just little small, red flags were going up, and I started to wonder, like, what is this? And so I actually, I work as a change management advisor, and the work I was doing was around digital transformation. So we're used to technology, and I'm very like a technophile, you know what I mean? I love technology and as an engineer and all that. So I was playing with ChatGPT. It had come out,
Okay.
So I happened to use that for myself as kind of like a journal. I started to track what was happening.
Your symptoms.
Yes.
Being like, what is this do to my body?
Yeah. So
what is the
answer? It helped me, but I'm not saying that everyone should do this, but it helped me go get checked, right?
Okay.
It said, like, there's something you should, it was like, serious. This is not just a cramp,
This is a red flag. Please take care of yourself. Okay.
It's, sometimes you can get certain symptoms and you think, oh, well, they'll go away and but nothing was going away. It was just kind of stacking up. And so that's when I was like, no, I got to go get checked.
And afterwards, you underwent surgery to remove those large masses and your ovaries too. And that brought you into menopause, something rough to go through at the same time. How did you manage that? What went through your mind? Physically, mentally? It
was one big mass, actually.
Okay.
So it started off as like like about the size of a lemon.
Oh, God.
And then by surgery day, which was only 3 weeks later, it was like 16 centimeters. So it's like a grapefruit.
So
Basically.
it doubled.
So it doubled in size in 3 weeks. So luckily for me, my doctor had kind of gone through like the if-then scenario with me of, okay, if we detect cancer, here's what we'll do. If we don't detect any cancer, here's what we'll do. So I knew that if during the operation, if they saw cancer, they would be doing a total hysterectomy. That means, ovaries, uterus, like everything is gone, the fallopian tubes, all of it. So you're essentially in an immediate surgical menopause, and your menopause starts right there and then. There's no build up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's one day to the next.
Yeah, you wake up and you're in menopause, basically.
But once your treatments were over and you said it, the support that you got afterwards was almost none. You were left kind of by yourself.
Yeah.
How was that transition, and what made you feel so alone?
So our system is very good at very serious things, okay?
Yeah.
So like if someone gets a cancer diagnosis, you become a VIP patient, right?
Okay.
You're seen by specialists every 3 weeks in my case, because you have to go in every 3 weeks and get your treatment and get your blood test. So you're really like followed up very regularly. And so you get used to that. Mm-hmm. You get used to that treatment during the active chemo phase, right? But then when treatment ends, you're supposed to be happy that it ended, that you don't have to go to a cancer center, but you got used to that safety net.
Yeah.
And it kind of becomes a crutch almost. And so you don't get seen that often after, right? So in my case, it was you have to come in for your checkups every 3 months, not every 3 weeks. So that first initial wait time, it's nerve-wracking because now I'm like, well, what's keeping the cancer away? Because I'm not getting treatment anymore.
Yeah.
So how do I know that I'm okay? And
that's the thing. How do I know? Because you don't know. You can't see it in your body.
Yeah. So there's that fear of that immediate fear of like, I don't know what to do with myself. And I also think that because of that same cycle, you get seen so often that you don't really process what's happening mentally. Like you're just kind of in this routine. I'll give you a very clear example. You go in, you get treatment. A few days later, you feel really bad because you're sick and you just feel gross. Chemo.
And it really kills your immune system.
Exactly.
That's
so you're not feeling good, right?
Yeah.
And then your immune system and all your blood cells rebuild, but they rebuild just enough so that you get another hit of chemo. So then you're kind of in this roller coaster and you're stuck in this cycle, but you're so focused on that specific, cycle itself of trying to feel better enough for your next treatment that you don't really process
what's going on
fully, what's happening. You do, but not fully until it's over. And then you really sit in the quiet where you're home now and you're home alone because everyone's gone back to their life and you're just kind of like, wow, this just happened. I'm only 36. Like, what the F is this, right? And so that's where you need more support, I think, whether it's mental health or even physical, because for me, it really felt like I just had a car crash and I have this burnt up car and I'm supposed to drive it for the rest of my life because I intend to drive it. I want to live, but how am I going to live in this burnt up car?
you know what I mean? Kind of felt like you had like a broken body after the experience.
Yeah, I would go out for walks and I was not able to walk around the block because my heart just would jump to like 160 beats per minute just from walking. At 36 years old, I felt like I was 136 years old,
But they didn't get you ready for that so that you would slowly be able to get your cardio back?
There's no such plan in that's not part of the standard of care right now. But I hope through these conversations, we can bring in, whether it's through providers who are providing insurance and support, to continue that plan. There's something missing. There's a huge part missing.
Sarah, I'm curious. Do you think employers could help prevent situations when someone's feeling alone, there's no support team?
Yeah, of course. You said earlier that this safety net, I think is a really important thing to focus on in the organization. That's what we're trying to build when we go to workplaces to implement the best practices. So social support from the manager and for the colleagues is a really powerful tools that we want to implement in all the organizations. So you have to do this before. So you want to create...
Prepare.
Yeah. It's really like a prevention things. You want to build this relationship of closeness and the trust too. So you really want to get together with your employees just to make sure they're safe, they want to be here, and you want to hear them too. And after that, if the employee goes on leave, well, you want to maintain the contact between you and them. So you can ask them what are their boundaries. For example, are they comfortable if you're calling them? Can we maintain this contact too? Some employees don't want to, and it's okay because every person has their condition, and it's all right. So do you want me to call you? Do you want me an email or a text or whatever?
You don't take it for granted.
No,
we'll see if she wants me to call her. No, it has to be clear.
No, that's right. Because like I said, everybody is feeling this in a different way.
Right.
And you said with the chemo, sometimes you're tired, you don't want to speak to anybody, and it's all right. So that's why you have to maintain
to have those boundaries.
Yeah, those boundaries.
Do you think you have to educate the managers too? Because not everyone knows how to deal with those situations because it doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, of course. HR teams are good to give cues to manager to help them with that. We want the manager to be caring and one that the employee can trust too. So it's a must.
It's absolutely. It's a must in every business, of course.
Yeah.
Alvina, how did that go for you to go slowly back to work? I know you had a strong relationship with your coworkers,
which
is
I was like really nodding.
She's like, I loved my coworkers, so it was great. But still, I can understand they don't know what reality you went through, so you're not always comfortable at giving all the details of what your everyday life was before. So how did that transition back to work go for you?
I have to say they're really good at like a lot of what you were saying. That was already established, so that was great. And something that was said just now was that it can't be just because a person's on leave, because then it makes it feel like questioning.
Okay,
whether is this for real, or are they like questioning? But if there's already a culture, it's easier for me to then see it as like, oh no, this is just part of the culture. They just actually care. So that's how it was for me. It really felt like care and not wondering like, when are you coming back to work? Like, what is this? So I had a good relationship with my coworkers, my managers, and HR. That part was amazing. I think what was harder is that once you are back, I feel like in general, like just from my conversations with others who, as a patient partner, I am very involved. So like I'm seeing a pattern that there is this expectation that I'm back to normal. But
who I was before.
But there's no normal. You don't return to that. I often say this to my husband, and it may sound a little morbid, but like I woke up from that surgery a different person. Like literally, I'm different. I'm hormonally different, systemically different. Like I'm not that same person anymore. I'm not on that same trajectory of someone who didn't have cancer, So I think that part is hard because it's not a physical disability. So it's hard for people to recognize, because I don't come in with a wheelchair and ask. I'm not asking for a ramp. I'm asking you for a metaphorical ramp that looks like, maybe it looks like less hours. Maybe it looks like fewer days. Maybe it looks like working from home, or picking and choosing clients for me who are closer to my home that accept, working from home, etc. So it's those things I think that are kind of invisible that are harder to have a conversation around, because then you're like, well, I don't want to sound like I'm high maintenance. I look young, I look fine. Someone on the street doesn't know that I went through this. So I think those conversations become hard, because then you're wondering like, am I asking for too much? Do I have the right to ask for this? You feel awkward having those conversations.
And it's not as if you're coming back from a vacation, or you took a sabbatical for a year and I'm back with the same person.
Right.
Is there something you would have done differently of getting back to work like the way you did? Or a conversation you would have had or told your employer?
So here's the thing. So I ended up creating that safety network for myself, because I went and was very proactive. I asked my doctors, like, what should I do right now? Because now I feel like I'm trying to rebuild my physical energy back myself, but it's not working because my heartbeat keeps jumping up, whatever, right? So I started working with a kinesiologist, but it was myself. I had to do that out of pocket. It wasn't necessarily covered, right? So it was like having to navigate all these things. It's hard, because you don't even know what care you need unless you ask. But no one's telling you, okay, now here's the plan. You should now do this. Now you're well enough to do this, X, Y, Z. So I worked with kinesiology, occupational therapists. I worked with
And what exactly is that?
So an occupational therapist, they help you kind of figure out like where you're at in terms of managing your time and organizing your tasks and your anxiety levels with all of that. And then they help you rebuild to where you need to be. And then when you're ready to go back to work, there should be more follow-up, but that's where my issues were. So that's why I wanted to get to you on that point was, so I was able to get back to work on a progressive return.
Yeah.
But once the return ends, once I'm now full-time, I have no access to my occupational therapist. So now I'm like, wait, but she brought me to this point, but how does she know that I'm going to do well?
You have no access, you mean time-wise or?
Coverage-wise.
Coverage-wise. Okay. That's what you meant. Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, she brought me to this point, but is it sustainable? Because now I'm going to get real work. Because when I'm in my progressive return, I'm not really doing my usual tasks. I'm doing like a lower level,
so that you could do your transition.
Right. So it's like, how do we measure my success? Maybe there should be a few more sessions.
Good point. Yeah. So once you're back at work, am I doing this well? Because it's maybe overwhelming for your body that is slowly getting back to 5 days a week.
Yeah. Because then I have to, if I don't feel well, then the onus falls all onto me. And I'm not an occupational therapist. So it's harder for me to be like, hey, employer, like, I don't feel good. Can we do something about it? Versus what if it came from the occupational therapist, this third party that's speaking for me, saying like, I'm an expert. She is not okay.
It's like a doctor.
You need to do this. And this is considered an accommodation because this is a disability, you know?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Whereas I'm not the expert.
So Sarah, what concrete actions can someone take so that the person feels truly safe and comfortable going back to work?
Action can be taken from the manager and the employees too. So you want to maintain the contact between the leave of absence, of course. And when you talk to the manager, when you're on leave, you can ask them questions. So what are the resources? And the manager have to know the answers too. So you want him to be well informed. What is offer? Is it like a EAP or therapist or everything? Like it's just for example. And you want to adjust their task, their schedule too. So it's not just about the hours that the employee is going to make.
The workload?
Of course. Yeah. You want to give maybe information to the colleagues too. So how the person is feeling, if it's okay for him to share the information. Do you want to invite them to a dinner when he's going to come back? How is it going to be when in the field when he's going to come back, like the first day? What are their needs? So it's all about the communication.
And sometimes knowing what to say as a coworker when the person is back. Is there something you would have appreciated someone would have said, like your coworkers?
Well, honestly, like for this part, like I was saying, it was great because I went to the Christmas parties. They came out to the Ovarian Cancer Canada Walk of Hope that happens in September. So it was really, we had this, it was there because it was already, there was already a culture of trust there that I felt comfortable enough to say to my employer, like, tell people, because I don't want to be the one telling people. Like, can you guys tell them? I don't feel like being the announcer of what's happening, you know? And it took that weight off. So I do agree that it does require that partnership, but that partnerships can only build when there's psychological safety already there, you know?
Of course.
And by leaving for a long time, would you say there's also cognitive effects?
I'm not a healthcare professional, but what I've seen on the relevant information that I've read on the subject, of course, you have a problem with concentration, sluggishness, it's something too. Maybe you're going to be a little bit longer to do a task.
Because you're not the same person, Alvina was saying.
You're not the same, but you have all your experience in your body. It's still there. Right. Just maybe get some times to get at the same point.
And maybe your vision also is different.
Yeah.
And you're aware of those differences too, right? Because you, like you said, it hasn't left your body. So you're like, I could do this.
Yeah, you know you can do it.
So like I could do this like in 2 hours. Now it's taking me 3 days.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Does it make you mad?
Of course.
Yeah.
You don't understand what's happening. You're like, what is this? And so I have friends who actually went back to work too fast after their own cancer diagnosis in like higher positions and in like management. And literally 3 months after, this person was on burnout because
she couldn't take it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And your husband also went through something a little bit tough, but his transition back to work went quite well. What exactly was different?
Yeah. So the thing is, when I was on leave, having 2 little kids, he got leave as well. because it was like, how do you adapt to this sudden change in life? You got to take it. So he got some leave time as well. But I found that his team, the partnership between employer and insurer was much stronger in the sense that they were very proactive. So he would get a call saying like, it's been X months and, we wanted to check in. We wanted to offer you, sessions with a therapist. Would you be interested to help you decide if you're ready to go back and what you need? And so like he was able to say, yeah, okay, sure. Let's try it, so whereas like I was sitting there like, wait, I didn't get that call.
I'm the one going through
cancer, the cancer
exactly.
person,
Me.
It's a bit like what?
Did you call saying, oh, my husband got the call? I didn't. Guys, No, I'm just kidding.
No, but
you can't do that.
But it made me it did make me go, oh, okay, so I should call and ask.
Okay.
To get some sessions too, because I didn't realize that you don't know what you don't know. Like you don't know what you can ask for if you don't come from that background. Like I don't come from insurance.
Well, no, definitely. I would know too. I'm learning.
Right.
Definitely.
So,
And speaking of insurers, what tools would you say they need to have?
As an insurer, you don't have to think like, oh, okay, so we're going to bring the employee back and we're going to close the file. So it's not the thinking that we want. So it's really thinking to be all in the adaptability and what the person needs. So you have several services, like you said, therapists, psychological help, rehabilitations too. So you want to offer all those things to the person. And after that, you want to promote them. There's different information tools and kits that exist in the market. So you want to let them know that it exists. Like you said, you maybe don't even know.
But before the process.
Well, before,
exactly.
of course. And after, when you're in it, you want to give them the information too, so they can use it.
It's a follow-up that needs to be done too.
Of course, yes.
Absolutely. So would you have a funny anecdote or touching one that you would like to share with us today?
Yeah, so as part of like my experience, I like to say with cancer, I mean, when I realized that I would lose my hair, one of the things I did was I started telling my kids like the story of, mom has this ball in her stomach that needs to be removed, because I didn't want to use the word cancer because I was afraid they'd go on the play yard and say like cancer, and then they'll hear, oh, my grandma died of cancer. So I was like, no, I'm not using the word cancer. But I had to kind of prepare them. So I was like, okay, well, she's going to lose her hair from this really, really strong medicine. It's called chemotherapy, but it's so strong that it makes you lose your hair by accident, But we're going to have fun. We're going to buy some wigs. And so that's what I started doing. I started to go on Amazon, buy like different colored wigs. The ribbon for ovarian cancer is teal. So I have like a teal wig at home. I've got all these different colors and just made it into a thing where it was funny and fun and, just
and
my
it's
own
a clever way
of
of kind of sharing the story with your kids.
Yeah.
I like that. Sarah, can you summarize our conversation?
Yeah, of course. So I think the key point here is to be open-minded, to be well-informed too of all the resources that can be available for the employees who's living with this kind of situation. You want to, like I said, maintain contact before, during the absence of leave. And you want to adjust their tasks, their schedule. And you want to build this culture of empathy, respect for all the colleagues, to make sure that everybody can help, can give support. And after that, you always want to make some regular follow-up just to make sure the employee is feeling safe. Do they need something else? Do you need to adjust some things for them? So I think that's the basic idea.
Absolutely. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. It has been such a great conversation and so much courage. Thank you, Alvina. Honestly, it's going to help other people that will go through similar tough journeys. And Sarah, thank you so much for the tools that you shared with us that will serve, of course, lots of people that will be listening to the podcast. And thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate and contact us at podcast@beneva.ca. If you'd like to have more information about the topic or discover other episodes, we invite you to go on Beneva's website in the podcast section. Stay tuned for another conversation that will guide you for future insurance and business needs.